Gita Srimad Viveka Yogi Mam Prabchodayadu Sarvada. Talking about bhakti, Swamiji poses a question in front of us. He says, a worldly man spends so much of time to acquire wealth, position, power, to look after his family, his wealth, so much of time. And in the end, when he finally takes leave of his body, where are all these? Nothing remains. You cannot take anything with you. So, isn't it worthless to spend so much of time and energy in amassing wealth and things like that? So he says, on the contrary, if you spend some time in purifying our thoughts and directing them towards God realization, then whatever little you acquire in this birth, it will be deposited in our life. It will not leave us. You can take it with you. He says, in the next birth, you can start where you stopped. So he says, why don't you spend some time in seeking God? Probably that is the realization which brought him to Sri Ramakrishna. Then again Swamiji stresses on the importance of purity. He says, without purity, you can't get real bhakti. Purity is the basic work, the bedrock upon which the whole bhakti building stands. That is what he says. You know, in the Thousand Island Park, when he was having a retreat with some of his foreign disciples, soon after the Parliament of Religions, that is where he spoke of Narada Bhakti Sutras. Because this sort of a bhakti was not known to them. They were emotional, religious, but as I told earlier, a cultured emotion of bhakti, a bhakti or a capacity to love from which all other selfish motivations and selfish desires are eliminated, and it becomes purely oriented towards realization of the truth. That sort of a bhakti was unknown to them. So that is why he spent some lectures, he spoke to them on Narada Bhakti Sutra. And he tells them the quality of a quality of a bhakta as satya, truthfulness, arjava, sincerity, daya, etc. And such a person can never injure another. In Bhagavata, Kapila tells his mother Devahuti, Mother, you see me in every being, and just as you would give me all your love, attention, care, worship, everything, in the same way you worship them. Give them your friendship, give them your love, give them your service, renounce for them your personal interest. So, such a purified bhakti which makes us see God everywhere, that is the gift to be acquired. That is a purification which we have to achieve in our mind. Swamiji says, the man whose heart never cherishes even the thought of injury to anyone, who rejoices in the prosperity of even his greatest enemy, that man is the bhakta. He is the real yogi. and he is the Guru of all. That is how he speaks to them. Purity as the bedrock of bhakti. Then he speaks to them about parabhakti, a bhakti from which all motivations have been removed. So he uses a very interesting example. I don't know whether in this way it is scientifically true, but he uses an example of a ship which goes towards a magnetic rock, and then he says all the iron nails and nuts and bolts automatically come out of that boat, and the boat sinks to the bottom. So in the same way, all our personal longings, materialistic inclinations, desires for prosperity and wealth and everything, when we move towards this truth, they all drop away from us. That is what he says in one of his lectures. Bhakti Yoga is a science of higher love, because the love which we know of seeks something in return. But this bhakti is one in which there is no desire for anything any return. So I told you in Karma Yoga also, we do our work as a sacrifice, as a surrender, and we don't expect anything as a fruit of our work, a reward of our work. So the principle is the same. You love, you serve the God, but never ask for anything. He knows. Ye yadhamam pravadyande tam tadhaiva bhajamya. God knows what to give, what is good for us. No? In another place he says, Gigida, ananyaschindayando mam ye jana paryupasate, tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. I take care of all their yogakshema, their prosperity I shall take care of. So, when the surrender is complete, the love, we purify it and it goes into a higher dimension, higher level of loving. So we find love the highest. Everything low naturally falls off from him, the object of whose love is the highest. So that is how the gopis loved Sri Krishna. First they loved him for the personal gratification, but when their love became so very purified, then there was no need for Krishna to be personally present there. So the gopis says, we see your dance and the peacocks in the Vrindavan. When we hear the nightingales singing, for us it is your Murali. And when the moon shines bright on us, we see it is your beautiful smile. So, love should take us, expand us to such a dimension that we become one with all that is beautiful, lovable and magnificent in the creation.